There.
Hello, everybody. Green Effect Podcast, Season 3, Episode 35. We're smiling because we're screwing this thing up right out of the gate. I've got Jonathan Pooley with me, mortgage agent, the Financial Collective. Jonathan, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just excited to be doing this. My first ever podcast. I've
Cool.
been watching yours ever since we kind of met, so it's very exciting now to be on this end of it.
That's it. That's it. It's you've made the big time, or you screwed something up pretty bad when you're on this podcast. Like something has happened, right? Something's
Yeah,
happened.
still pretty
Very
good
good.
odds.
That's it. All right. Well, listen, man. You are a newer mortgage agent. You drank the Kool-Aid. You joined my team. Man, tell me a little bit about you, because what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about a lot of business.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to try to avoid, some of the mortgage stuff because we talk a lot about that all the time. But, just the business stuff. And listen, the way things are right now with, maybe not a recession, housing economy, it's a tough business to get into, right? So we're going to talk
hmm
about that. But tell us about yourself, man. Where did you come from? Why did you choose mortgages? There's a lot of better other jobs out there other than mortgages. Go for it, man.
Well, I do have a full-time job, and I was kind of looking at something where I can utilize a little more of my skills. And my wife had actually done mortgages, and I was in the banking
Right.
industry for several years, and I enjoyed it. And I'm a numbers guy. I like to talk to people. I like to help people. And my wife did mortgages for a while, and I was very intrigued and interested at some of the situations that she was in and the individuals that she got to meet. And I was given an opportunity to be able to kind of do the courses and do the education for it. I did it. I thought it was very interesting. And yeah, I just decided to kind of go in head first. And here we are now. And
Yeah.
mortgages, like again, I'm a numbers guy, right? So I enjoy seeing that. I enjoy the challenges. I enjoy trying to figure out a solution when it seems like there isn't a solution. And I really love helping people. I've been on the positive end of getting a mortgage, and I've been on the negative end as well. And I know just how stressful it was, but getting that ultimate goal of getting your first house and that feeling of accomplishment on that end was amazing, and I want to be able again to give that to other people as much as I can.
Isn't that crazy that your experiences, in life, mortgages, friends, business, whatever, it shapes you a little bit.
hmm
You kind of look at things maybe a little bit different. It's like I want to be this or I don't want to be this. It's
hmm
interesting how that kind of, I'm sure you see that in your world, right?
Yeah, and one of the first experiences we had, um, we worked with a mortgage agent right from the very beginning. Luckily, we had people in our circle that explained to us the benefits of working with an agent. And unfortunately, that experience was one that stayed with me even till now because I don't I learned a lot. I had a lot of takeaways from that of how I don't feel that I would respond or act in situations, and that was one that I we still that was probably 10 years ago, and we still think about that today. It was just such an impactful situation and experience and result as well too in a I don't want to say a negative sense to kind of give it that kind of um, you know overcast, but it wasn't a favorable experience. But
Yeah,
again,
fair
using
enough.
that, I kind of keep that in my forefront now as I'm doing my own business. But then through there, we've had, sorry, this kind of just fell on me.
It's
Through
okay.
there, I've had some,
Listen, this podcast, we've had food delivered in the middle of it. We've had people walk in the room. Hey, what's a camera falling in the middle of it, right? So it's all good,
it's a,
man.
it's my beauty light.
Oh, is
So,
it your beauty
like,
light?
yeah,
That
I got
crashed?
it.
Shocker.
Oh, that's not going anywhere. I
Uh,
need that one. But
yeah.
again, I've had a lot of great experience, and I have a lot of friends who are mortgage agents, and again, working in the banking industry, um, I've
Mhm.
had a lot of positive ones. So I was able to kind of to pick through there of how I want to run my business and how I feel that I want to be as a mortgage agent.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think we lose perspective sometimes. I know I do. Like you're all day you're going with numbers and dealing with underwriters and dealing with clients that, listen, they're not mortgage people. They don't know, right? So you
Mhm.
deal with stuff all day long, appraisers, God forbid you got to talk to a lawyer, and you sometimes lose perspective where you're like, all right, there's like there's a client behind this, who
Hmm.
really is not an expert. We are the experts.
Yeah.
That is our job, right? To make sure they understand and can appreciate kind of what the process is. So
Mm.
it's always one of those things where you look back and you're like, all right, this is really what shapes me. This is what I want to be. This is how I'm choosing. You use those words where, it's running your business, right? I'm
Hmm.
running a business here. And I think that's really important to understand. We just happen to do mortgages. Other than that, it's a business, right?
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
important to understand that. So now, I mean, you're just listen. You're getting ramped up here, and listen. I love the stuff that you're doing. Like the stuff you're fearless. I love it. How has it been that first little bit of just getting into it? And again, we just happen to do mortgages, but it's a business. How has it been just getting like as a business startup for you?
Well, first, it's overwhelming. There's a lot of intricacies in the mortgage business, um, as you know, and as I'm starting to learn now that it's not as simple as see a house, get a mortgage, buy the house, refinance, get all your debts into that. There's so many intricacies where I thought I was like, oh, I'm very experienced in this. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to blow the doors wide open. And then, even yourself, you talk about a situation and I'm just sitting there just like, what? And you can see it in my eyes when we're talking. You're like, what, we'll talk about when you get there. It's just, there's a lot of intricacies, but find I found that if you have that support system, it makes the world of a difference. Um, and again, if you decide how you want to be with clients, with your referral partners, once you decide that type of individual you want to be, and that was one thing you talked to me about as well too, is saying like you have to figure out how you want to run your business. You have to personalize your own brand, kind of thing. And I find once you set that foundation, it kind of takes away the overwhelming feeling that you get. And again, having a great mentor like yourself, you talk every Tuesday, we talk. And, when I think that maybe I'm not getting as much traction as I should be, you say, no, 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 you're doing great. You're doing all these things. And you put it in a perspective where I realize, hey, I think it should be going one way, but you as the expert, you know, saying, no, this is exactly what you should be doing. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions, and having that support system to be able to kind of navigate each up and down and in between really helps keep you on that path of becoming successful.
And listen, we mark this podcast explicit, so hey, let her rip. But I know I've used this term with you a lot. When you start a new business, forget it what it is. Mortgages I think it's more it's more, I don't know what the right word is I'm looking for, but it's more intense. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, pardon me. By the way, it's
Bless
allergy season, so but a mortgage is more intense. You're dealing with the biggest purchase for a lot of people ever in
you.
their lives. Okay, and I've used this term like when you first start out, it's like a mind fuck. It's
Hmm.
just like it's all coming at you, and you don't know where to go with it. And it's funny as a leader, it's like I always try to think, okay, I want I want the folks that are working with me to just be busy all the time, and then we got to balance that tightrope of busy all the time and being
Yeah,
overwhelmed, right?
yeah.
And listen, you're the same as a client. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Hmm.
So that's where yeah, that's where it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge, right? It's like watching someone just grow a business. But it is overwhelming. It is. There's a lot of crap you need to know, right?
And I remember, I think I sent you a message one day where I said, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think it was along the lines of I'm overwhelmed or I don't know what to do, or something where I was just kind of stressing out. And you said, call me in 5 minutes. And I called you and we walked through, um, the things I was doing. And I think you even said, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're having too high expectations. You just gotta, follow this roadmap, this path, this learning path, and you'll get to where you're going and just relax. And it's perfectly okay to feel stress. It's perfectly okay to feel this. And it's just, again, not having that support system, I think, I can understand. I think the stats are what 50% of agents don't renew their license after the first year or something like you probably know that better
Wow, I didn't know.
than
I didn't know that. So what is it, 50% don't renew after the first year?
that's what I heard. So I'm not
Wow.
that's not confirmed. So that might be something we can go
Fact
Google
check
after.
that. Yep, we
Yeah,
will fact
fact
check
check
that.
that.
That's right. That's right.
But I read like even in the book, a lot of people they don't. And then, again, I don't know each individual's personal situation, but I feel if there's a great support system in place for that agent, that maybe those numbers might differentiate in the positive.
Well, and I think you said something too, and this is like totally common. Like people do think. Let me back up one more step. I've said this before. We're like the HGTV generation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like everybody thinks that this is easy peasy, roll in, make a lot of money, and
Mm-hmm.
then move on to the next thing.
Yep.
And it's just simply not. And I think when we went through our boom, we'll call it, right, through COVID and even a few years before that, yeah, that's exactly it. But you could be a realtor, throw up a cardboard box, 500,000, boom, sold 5 hours, right? Collect your
200
check.
over asking.
Yeah, collect your check, go buy your new car, $1,000 a month payment. We're good, man.
Mm-hmm.
We can sell, no problem. So now we're coming back to real life, right? On the mortgage side, on the realtor side, where yeah, you gotta work and hustle, man. Like it is what it is. So people do look at this and listen, I used to mentor some of the new mortgage specialists when I was with RBC, and I've seen so many realtors come in and out. They come in. Funny story. I had an RBC mortgage rep. Not a word of a lie. We were talking. I guess he worked for the branch and become a mortgage agent with the bank. And not a word of a lie, he goes, "I seriously, I thought you guys just stopped working at 3 and went golfing." But it for him, he was
Yeah,
dead serious. Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
nice.
And I
Mhm.
said, "What made you think that?" He goes, "You guys are always running around." I'm like, "Yeah, but we're always running around running our business." And what you don't see,
Mhm.
yeah, you see golf tournaments. Absolutely, Jonathan. You've seen me, right? I sponsor a golf tournament. Look, I'm having a great time. I'm not taking the day off, man. I'm on that damn phone the whole time.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, so it's nice when
Yeah.
someone like yourself comes in and there's this kind of realization of holy shit, this is a lot of work. Now, you saw your wife go through this too, so you've got that kind of that firsthand experience as to what it's like. Like you've seen it happen before, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and one of the things that I had even friends and family members tell me that they're very successful in different industries, but their kind of advice to me was just you know like I said, hustle, work hard, and everything will kind of come together in the end. It may not seem like it, right? But if you put all these puzzle pieces together, at the end you're gonna have a beautiful picture
yeah,
of a mountain. So it's kind of a cheesy little analogy, but that's what I'm looking at because it's not just them telling me as supporters of my network, my family, friends. It's individuals that I speak with. It's agents that I talk to on social media. It's everywhere where they say just stick
yeah,
to what you're doing, have that support system, educate, learn as much as you can every day or every week. One of your things is you tell us, look at this event, sign up for this event, sign up for that event. This one might not be 100%, something that you might need, but there might be 30% there that's very beneficial to you. So as long as you kind of stick to this um, um, program, if you will, eventually it'll kind of all come together. And if you can just and that was the one thing, like with my wife, I can go up and I can talk to she says, you can go talk to a wall all day. And I said, yeah, it's true. She's not that, I guess, extroverted. And so it was a little bit more challenging for her. And she was successful pretty early on, but it just wasn't her interest. She liked helping people. Um, and then I guess she kind of got into that situations when you try to help friends and then it gets all, you know, cloudy very quickly. And she's like, I'm not going to, it just wasn't for her. And she's found success in her own field
absolutely.
now. But it's, yeah, it's a very wild industry when
Yeah,
you're starting out. There's no shortage of, there's no shortage of relaxation. There's no shortage of bore,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Oh, and I think too, it's listen, when now you and I met a little bit more unconventionally. We'll talk about that in a moment. But when I'm interviewing
Hmm.
potential people for our team, um, I tell them this. I'm like, man, if you still want to talk to me after the first interview, God bless you. I want to talk to you because I think too many times brokerages, teams, whatever, they sell the lifestyle. It's like you're going to buy a damn car, right? Oh yeah, get the
Yeah.
Mustang convertible. I'm probably dating myself there, but get the Mustang convertible. The girls will be all over you. You know, oh, it's only $1,200 a month. Don't worry about it. It'll be fantastic, right? And so I think too many times I think we don't give the real story, right? And I know
Hmm.
when I talk to some of these agents, I'm like, so let me just prepare you what this world is like. First of all, you will be lied to more than you're told the truth. People will stab you in the back nonstop.
Hmm.
You won't sleep very much for the first couple of years because you're so damn stressed out. It's going to take you 3 or 4 years to really get your business ramped up. You're probably if you're sitting at the family dinner table for the first year or two, you probably have to pick up the phone in the middle of dinner. So talk to your wife first, right? And they're all like, "Oh
Hmm.
yeah, sounds good," and then I never hear from them ever again. Cool. Sometimes they call me back. Also cool, right? But I don't
Hmm.
eyes wide open, man. This is a lot of freaking work, right? And I'm sure you're
Oh yeah.
noticing that. You are. You've already mentioned it. You're noticing it right now. There's a lot to this to get her ramped up, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
And so the way I met you is, and this is not even this. I can't even make this up. I shouldn't say what I'm about to say because if a police officer is listening, I might get a phone call. But let's just say I was on my phone, okay, and
Hmm.
I'm looking for potential people to work with, and I come across your thing, and I don't know, man. It's like somebody up top was talking to me, and they're like, "You got to call this guy. Something's up. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know
Hmm.
what I told you, but I'm like, something's up here." And I called you. I'm like, "Bud, it looks like you just started. What's going on? Talk to me." And you talked to me. We just started talking.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Why did you call me?" And I said,
Yeah.
"I don't know what it was, but I looked at your profile on LinkedIn and I said,
Hmm.
something seemed off. I don't even know what it was. I don't know what it was." Right? But do you remember that phone call?
Hmm. I do. I was at home and I remember you called me. Just it was a simple question you asked me. I think we ended up talking for an hour, and you're like, I didn't really
Oh,
expect to
I
talk to you for
did.
an hour. And I was like, sorry, I'm a talker, but yeah, what had on my LinkedIn profile, it said looking for work or something, open to
Right.
work,
Yes.
and I didn't know how to take that off. So you had saw that I joined a previous brokerage, and a couple weeks prior, and you just kind of asked some probing questions, and I just said, hey, well, you said I called you because you just started this brokerage. How come you're already looking for
That's what
work?
it was.
And I said,
Yes.
man, I forgot to turn it off. I don't know how, but it just so happened that um, I'll digress a bit. Is one of the things that you say, and in our first meeting, you said I don't have, or in that conversation, you said I don't have hot croissants to give you. I don't have, you know, gourmet coffee in this beautiful office that you can have. I don't have trips you can win or all this. I can't remember what it
Yeah.
was you said, all this jazz. You said, but what I can offer you is X, Y, Z. Support, help you build your business, everything, except for leads. You won't give me leads as much as I
Yes.
beg you for.
Correct. You heard it here first,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah. You're not gonna get no matter how
Yeah.
much you offer. No, but the and that was what I felt had happened in that situation was um, I I wanted to be go to these conferences and go to cool events and win a trip to Costa Rica, and then I kind of thought to myself like I'm married, three young
Yeah.
boys. I also have a full-time job for now. My goal is to be a successful mortgage agent and eventually do that full-time. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to go to Costa Rica by myself and leave my wife home with three kids. I can't go play golf every other weekend as much as I want. So I can't, go to these events here and do all these things. I'm like, at the same time, my goal is to be successful and to, you know, have a business. And I feel like I would get that more with one-on-one. So I kind of was talking to you about that. And in that conversation, you offered me a free Starbucks coffee, and with the way the economy's going right now, that's like $1
It's,
million. So I was like, yes,
he's
I want the
bringing out
free
the big
coffee.
guns, baby.
Yeah, getting that
Yeah.
free coffee. And, we had the conversation there, and I talked to my wife, and she even said, I think it's where she said, what's the
Yeah.
catch? That was the thing. What was the catch? And I asked you a few questions, and you were just super open and honest and telling me things that, other places I interviewed at didn't really tell
Yeah.
me. And yeah, the rest is short
Yep.
history. It's been what, 3 months, 4 months,
Yeah.
but it's yeah, it was definitely very strange how it all came together at that particular time, and even still, I've been had people try to poach me since then. I
Yeah.
told you, and you saw that I was 4 weeks on with my mortgage license, and I don't know what it is, but you were like, I need to take a chance on this
Yeah.
individual, and yeah, right, and it just goes to show it's just putting yourself out there, and taking every call and just talking to people kind of gets you in these fun
So,
situations.
so if I see on LinkedIn you switch it to open to work again, I know it's over between us. Apparently, is that what it is?
Yeah, I know how to put it back on. I figured out how to take it off, but it was just magical. Magical is
Yeah.
kind of, it was just great how it all
Yeah.
kind of just fell into place, and gave me the other perspective. And nothing against that other brokerage, it wasn't a fit for what my goals are.
Yeah.
And if I were in a different situation, I would love to go to
Yeah.
Costa Rica or wherever it was and have those fresh croissants. Because again, with the
Yeah.
economy now, right? It's been long time since I've had a
That's
croissant.
right.
A fresh
That's
croissant at
right.
that, I should say.
Yeah, it's funny
Mhm.
how the mortgage industry is changing. I think it is changing. I think I don't my own it's only my own perspective. I talk to agents who are at some of the bigger bricks and mortar type brokerages, we'll say, and it's funny because I'm like, oh, okay, so you must be going in there a lot. They're like, no, I haven't been there in 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay, well that's good to
Mhm.
know. Like, what's going on? What are we doing here, right? And I think there's still the opportunity for face to face, but my own perspective, totally my own perspective. Every agent can do what they need to do to run their business. I don't know. I'd rather spend time in front of a fantastic referral partner, my clients, instead of going in and talking around the water cooler. I'm just too damn busy. It doesn't make any sense for me anyway, for my business, and especially um, when you're away from the major urban center, away from the actual physical office. It's like, don't need it, right? I go buy my own whatever. I go bring my own breakfast in and
Mhm.
whatever. So it's I don't know. I just have a feeling that, and this is what this whole thing's modeled after. Everything's more going virtual, but it better be freaking slamming good virtual, like not half-ass put it together. So
Mhm.
that's what I see, and that's what I tell you guys, and you, like, dude, Jonathan, like you are like fearless, man. You get, I think you understand getting in front of people, right, and reaching
Mhm.
out and just making connections. As much as our world is virtual and we do our appointments online or whatever, um, nothing replaces actual connections. Like relationships is the word I'm looking for,
Yeah.
right? So like put your
Yeah.
time where you need to put it, and go build relationships with all sorts of people. The more people you know, man, like it is what it is, right?
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about in our first meeting in terms of my expectations, where I don't, you know, I'm not saying, hey, get me this lead, get me that lead, or whatever, and just say, point me in the
Yeah.
right direction, and I'll do the rest. But if you say, you know what, maybe talk to that individual right there in terms of referral partners, maybe talk to
Mm-hmm.
them right there. And then I'll go and I'll talk to them. And then you say, you know what, if you have more questions, come back to me and we'll kind of come up with a plan of what you should
Yeah.
say because you are new, et cetera, et cetera. And I find that for me particularly, that structure will enable me to buy my own hot croissants later in life. If I want to, I can, get my own brick and mortar mortgage um,
Yeah.
facility, right? So that's, again, in my opinion, is the the real foundation of what you need.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is nice, it's fun, but if you can just get that support, that coaching, that mentorship, that direction, and even the education, the learning and stuff like that, then everything else will follow afterwards, and you'll get to where you want to go a lot quicker. instead of having, you know, a free
Yeah.
trip kind of dangled in front of your face. And again, not
Yeah.
saying that's a bad thing. It's just my the way I want to experience this whole mortgage industry. I feel like this is the best avenue to do that and to become successful.
So through all of your all the reaching out and the connections you're making and stuff like that, social media is big, obviously, right? We're all on there. Like
Yep.
whether you want to be there or not, you're on your social media. We know when you reach out to a new real estate agent, for example, to start up, hey, let's see if this is a a connection, see if we can work together. Because you can't work with everybody, and that's okay, right? You gotta connect. Um, I know you send them a message, you give them a phone call. What's the reaction from them when you're reaching out to them like that?
So I use Instagram a lot. Instagram and
Yeah,
LinkedIn. I send that just a regular, personalized message. I take the time to actually write because I think that people can tell the difference of a mass-produced kind
one
of DM.
hundred percent.
And yeah, I like to set up, but it's either I get no response, and I don't know if Instagram's blocking me because it's a business page, or I get just you know, a very nice response, just a very like, oh, welcome to welcome to the industry. How are you finding things? Of course, I'd love to have a coffee. So it's really one end or
Yeah,
that end. There's no real in between, and I'm very particular who
yeah,
I message. Um, right, and I have again, you've also guided me in the direction of what I should be looking for, but I choose a certain kind of people that I would want to have a beer with after business is done. And then it's like, hey, maybe let's just sit and have a beer or have a coffee or something and just talk about life
yeah,
in general. And that's how I've decided that I want to surround myself with other professionals around myself with. Um, and again, social media has been great and it's the easiest way to get there through them. And I've had a couple coffees through there and I've met already some great individuals who are now, people that I talk to and keep in touch with and can put on that referral partner list. Um, as I kind of grow what I'm trying to
yeah.
grow.
It's interesting because I think you're right. I think it really comes down to who do you want, not so much who you want to work with, but who do you want to align yourself with.
Yeah,
And
that's a
I
better
think
term.
if you're looking on Instagram, I don't know if I tell you guys this, but I know it's in my head. It's like everyone who sees my social media, that's like a bit of a glimpse into me. Okay. I might
Yep.
not have people that want to work with me because I'm dropping F bombs on my podcast. Fair enough. Because I'm telling you, when I'm working with you, I might drop an F bomb. It might happen not because they say you swear, you're more intelligent. So we're going with that one. But, yeah, it
That's
is what
good.
it is. If you don't like that, not a big deal, right? I'm okay with that because I
Mhm.
don't know, I might struggle with that. But I think everybody out there has to be aware your social media is a glimpse on you. So I know and I'm sure you see this as well, where you look at someone's social media feed and you're like, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to align myself with this guy." I've had that, right? I don't know if I want.
Mhm.
I'm good. I'm gonna go to somebody else. I don't need the business that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Or you look at it and you're
Mhm.
like, "Whoa, man, this dude is on it." Right? I want to work with this guy, and I think in business we have to be very, very careful of this. And
Mhm.
listen, you're not gonna be everyone's cup of tea. I'm not gonna be everyone's cup of tea. That's okay, but gotta be careful what you post on social media because that's how they judge you, man. All right?
And to be honest, I also check out reviews.
Love
I check
it.
out if there's
Yeah.
reviews, and just to see because I'm not. I don't know how to put this in. Like, I will do whatever it takes to ensure client satisfaction, and that was one thing we talked about, where it's like, we'll do. There's always a solution to a problem. You may not like the solution, but it'll solve the
Yeah.
problem. And I want, but there's a line to that. Like, I'm not going to, cheat, lie, rob, steal just to
Yeah.
get everything. And again, it all goes down to, and especially just in life in general, is who would I have a beer with at the end of the day? Who would I have a
Yeah.
coffee with at the end of the day? If somebody were to call on me to say, hey, even if a realtor were to call on me and say, hey, I'm not going to get to this showing in time. I don't know if it's a possibility, but can you just go and meet these clients, or can somebody help this client shovel, this an elderly individual, can you just shovel their driveways, like something as small as that? That's the kind of things that I think about. um, that I want to surround myself with in life and in business. And I think I have every right to
Yeah,
expect that. And I have every right to be able to want that. And if it's, if people say, oh, you're too nice, you're too kind, or you're giving too much, then that's just what it is. But that's the type of individual that I am. And um, that's what I would go to sleep at night feeling proud about, is
you
continue
got to
to
be
be
able
that
to
person.
sleep at night in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the world
Hmm.
is filled with so much shit. It's like,
Hmm.
just be nice. I know it's like an overstatement, but just
Yeah.
be nice, man. Seriously. Like, be reasonable and, you know, you're right. It's the one thing about this community, everybody knows everybody somehow. Like
Yeah.
real estate, mortgages, everybody knows everybody. Some way, shape, or form. The rumor mill is healthy, it is thriving, it is brutal, and you're right, it's you don't want to be that person with that reputation. You just don't. Because I'm telling you, there are people with that
Hmm.
reputation. And one thing I've learned in business, two things: karma's a bitch, and what goes around
Hmm.
comes around. Always, without exception, what goes around comes around. I can name stories, which I will not
Yeah.
do on the air. But yeah, it's you just want to surround yourself with the right people always, you know. So
Hmm.
anyway,
I agree. And this, what I found in this one is it's not a solo thing. You need a network and you need a support system, and you're going to work with them. And it's not a one-sided endeavor as well, too. It's a give and take, or a take and give, whatever the
yep,
terminology is. It's
yeah.
50-50, right? And the biggest kind of, I wouldn't say shock, but a great feeling I've gotten is just when you start with your socials and you put out that you're new and you start, adding this realtor, this mortgage agent, this business, everybody is just, well, everyone that I've come across is so welcoming. If you need any sort of advice, assistance, let me know. If I can help anyway, let me know. Other mortgage agents, if you want me to post anything, let me, like, it's just been, as soon as I got in, I tell my wife too, as soon as I got in here, it's just, we got a new person. Come on over here. You're new, and let's do this. Right. And it's been very, that's helped kind of calm the stresses as well too. And it's been something that was just, I didn't expect it. I didn't know what to expect, but I surely didn't expect, you know, all the support just from people I a month ago we had no clue who
Yeah,
each other were. And now all of a sudden we're commenting happy birthday on our kids' things, and just, yeah, it's just, that was been one of the nicest realizations too, from just the peer network.
I think too long this industry has gone in silos. Everybody's got a little silo. Everyone just does their little thing, and I don't know.
Mm.
Maybe I'm getting older. I'm super competitive, no doubt. But in the same breath, like we just started up that little mastermind, right? And it's like there's
Yeah.
a big world out there, and people know stuff. Like, how do we harness this? How do I learn stuff? Like I always use that term tribal knowledge, right? Like just tribal knowledge
Mm.
of like shit people know, and it's just like, okay, how can I get like people I don't know together to learn stuff? Because I know a lot of stuff. Jonathan, you're learning a whole ton of stuff as you
Mm.
go along. There's people that maybe through their own brokerage right now, there's this thing they learned and it'll come out. Like it's just I don't know, man. I think the better we all look as mortgage agents, the better our industry will look. Because I know, like on the real estate side, I mean, it's well publicized. I'm not making stuff up, but I mean, there's been some stuff that's happened there where if the industry as a whole doesn't kind of take care of itself, reputations can follow it, right? And same on the mortgage side, we've had that too with some sketchy private lending stuff going on, and we've all got to kind
Hmm.
of take care of each other a little bit here, share some knowledge, and try to get stuff done. And I'm not saying, hey, listen, put out social media posts about, hey, I learned this today. Make sure you guys don't do this and go close more business because of it. I'm not saying that, but just there's a lot of things we can do to help each other.
Yeah, and like particular one mortgage agent that I met on social media, just again starting my mortgage page
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram, they released a gratitude journal. Her and another
Neat.
realtor, and I just made a nice little post. I said, "Hey, everyone, go get this gratitude journal." They just dropped it, I think that they're great individuals, and I posted up, and she sent me something back, just saying, "Oh my God, thank you so much," right? And just having those kind of connections and
Yeah.
relationships, it really just builds something so nice. And it's not just for you particularly, but just an industry. Again, in the people that I've been surrounded with, it's just knowing that you have people everywhere and supporting each other and supporting each other's successes is a great feeling to me. And I think that we could all be successful. Like there's not a shortage, maybe right now, there might be a little bit of shortage of what's going on, but there's no shortage of ability for all of us to become successful and to help each other be successful. And if you go along the way, you find that, maybe you are getting taken advantage of, I think I'm pretty good at, filtering that out. Then you kind of got to have those, tough realizations and conversations. But again, I'm not there yet. I haven't been there, and I'm pretty positive on the outlook of how things are going.
That's because you're new. You're not jaded yet. Wait till you're an old fart like me, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh man, here we go again." It's tough though. It's
We'll
tough that all
see.
these years I've
Yeah.
been doing this. It's like, okay, I don't know about you. Maybe it's different for you, but my wife is not in this industry, man. She's not into real estate.
Mhm.
God bless her. She's not into any of this crap. And I sometimes go to her for perspective. I'm like, man, what do you think about this? Am I wrong? Because my wife's very good at telling me when I'm
Mhm.
wrong. She's exceptionally good at that. And sometimes you got to get perspective. It's like, man, what am I wrong here? Did I misstep? And
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you find that you go to your wife as a bit of a sounding board, and especially with her having done this before too, right?
Mhm. Well, I go to her for a lot. So I also have a TikTok that I do on the
Mm.
side, and it's gotten pretty popular. And it's where I sing
Yeah,
songs,
yeah,
I sing
yeah.
covers, and and Drake happened to post
Yep.
one of my songs, one of my or one of the covers I did of his, and then I was all over the news, and it was a pretty fun
Yeah.
experience. And I got a lot of positivity from there, but then there was obviously a few negative comments that slipped
Really?
through. And I would go to my wife and I said, "Are they right? You know what I mean? Like, is this like, are they right? Am I this? Am I that? Should I?" And I go to her for everything where I'm confused or where I need that new perspective, whether it's in regular life with the social media, with that stuff I'm doing, whether it's my full time job, or whether it's the mortgages as well too. And even after the conversation with you, I needed her perspective because you did such a good job of
Yeah.
talking and showing me and doing all these things. I'm like, no, he's too good. He got me. He wrote me in, but I'm gonna give it to the
Yeah.
filter here, and she's gonna catch it. And one of the analogies, I don't remember where I heard it, was if you take a cereal box and you put it right up to your nose, you can't read it, right? Because you're too close to it. But if you push it away and you pull it out, then you can read everything. And the analogy on that was you sometimes you have to step away from it and look at it from the outside, right? So where that an outside perspective, or even yourself, just kind of being, impartial or from a
Yep.
non-objective or
Yep.
unbiased opinion, and just seeing it through somebody else's eyes. Because I haven't been in the situations, particularly with clients, where needed her perspective or anyone else's perspective or your
Mhm.
perspective for that matter. But in terms of socials, again, referral partners, and a few other things, having that
Yep.
perspective has probably saved me from a lot of you know stress, like personal mental stress. And yeah, so
Yeah, I think it's important in business to have, even if it's not, if
mhm.
it's not a wife or a husband or a boss or whatever. It's just, it's tough. Like I'm not a patient guy. Like I'm just not. I thrive on order, um, process. It's my project manager background, right? I'm just not a patient guy. If
Mhm.
you're gonna be, later, or just let me know. It's all good, but just don't leave me hanging. I'm just not patient like that. And I sometimes have to go
Mhm.
to my wife and be like, am I like overboard here? And she's like, no, that's legit. Or yeah, chill out. It's. So it's important to have something like that, right? Especially because this
Yeah,
job's just
because
so damn stressful too, right?
yeah, we all get lost in ourselves just in life in
Yeah.
general, right? So it's even like when I'm on the
Yeah.
road, I tell my wife, should I have done that? Should I have honked at that person? Should I have? allegedly giving them the
Yeah.
middle finger, right?
In my head.
It's yeah. So it's again, it all goes back to that support
Yep.
system, right? It's having individuals, and not just your wife. It can be, like you said, friends or people that really
Yeah.
know you to be even able to say, "Hey,
Yeah.
you were wrong." Right? You shouldn't have said that. Don't look at it this way, look at it that way. Don't think the worst, think this way. So without that, it makes things more
Yeah.
difficult. And again, it's I think it affects your mental health like very negatively if you don't if you can't do it yourself and just say, "Boom, I got to sit back, I got to look at it and just take all the evidence I have and make an
Yeah.
informed decision." If you don't have that ability, then to have somebody that can say, "Hey, Steven, you shouldn't have said that to John the other day about his
Yeah.
calendar," right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then the person be like, no, actually, you're absolutely correct. He should be on top of his calendar more
Yeah.
often. Right? And then it would have been the end of the
Yeah.
conversation because
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, we
Yeah.
whenever you join our team, we do a disc profile. I'm not going to go down that road too far, but there's one thing that Jonathan and I are just a little bit opposite on. And
Yeah.
where I always say my
Where's that?
calendar looks like a Care Bear threw up on it, and your calendar looks like well, it's just one color. I'm like, what maniac only has one color on his calendar and not a whole rainbow of planning? Oh my god, what
Yeah.
am I gonna do?
Yeah. And it was that I got my payback where I gave you my passive aggressive you asked me a question and I was like, as
That's
per
where
my
I guess.
calendar,
Right. uh,
just as a way back. But it helps too, right? Because I've never had a reason to have a calendar,
yeah,
right? So learning that
yeah,
kind of skill and then understanding the benefit of it, because a lot of things, I shouldn't say a lot, but I've noticed already a few things where I've forgotten
yeah,
about already. And then it's just a reminder, say, hey, you got to do this. And it's like, oh, you're right. Or, hey, you have this webinar. Hey, you have this meeting. Hey, you should really, focus on this. Um, so kind of getting organized in that sense is hands down, like aside from,
yeah,
educating yourself, support system, organization is probably one of the top three I can think of off the top of my head that if you're not organized, it'll just make everything so
yeah.
much worse. So kind of push me back on that path is yeah, it's very well received. All
Yeah,
jokes
and
aside.
and, and I'm happy for that. For me,
Mm,
it's a really weird one for me. I've never shared this with you guys, but so listen, I've been in a corporate environment for 25 years, right?
mm,
Selena and Sarah, who work with us, both corporate environment, right? So to go through things like I'm sharing my calendar with you, or I invited you to this, or I assigned a task to you, or can you do, I don't know, reply all. I'm just making stuff up here. They came out of a corporate
mm,
environment. They're like, okay, yeah, I know what the guy means. Whatever, accept it and let's move on, right? But
yeah.
the one thing I'm noticing, and again, it's something my own learning. I bring in someone like yourself, okay, Kat. Kat's also joined our team, and well, you guys didn't come out of a corporate background, so you guys don't
Mm,
know. You don't know what I know, right? And so for me, it's like, okay, wait a second. They legit, they don't know, right? I got to show them that, and that's cool because I almost like that because listen, the amazing behaviors that you bring and your personality and what you're doing, I'd rather have that than someone that I got to push all the time. Like I probably wouldn't even let them join my team to be honest with you, but I'd rather say, hey,
mm,
dude, this is how you color code a calendar and how I do it, and then you can take it away and do your thing. Um, it's just something I got to remember. I'm like, okay, not everybody has come from this background, but when you work at a bank, for example, everybody's come from that background, right? Everybody knows how to use
mm.
Outlook or Google or Zoho or whatever we're using. So it's been my learning. I'm like, oh shit, nobody knows this, right? And not everyone's gonna
Yeah.
know it if they didn't come from a bank or corporate. So
Yeah, and it's just the remembering to put it in. Just remember putting it in the
yeah,
calendar. And to be honest, now that I have a calendar, I feel more professional.
yeah,
I feel more not so much as having imposter syndrome, right?
yeah,
Because I've talked to a bunch of mortgage agents. I shouldn't say a bunch of like five or six, but just I'm very open with how I feel. I'm very open with mental health and stress and all that stuff. And I just said, like, I feel like, who's going to get a mortgage from me? Right. So they all said the same thing. They all, even realtors that I've talked to, they all said the same thing. Who's going to buy a house from me? I don't know what I'm talking about. Imposter syndrome is
Yeah.
where I'm getting at. Sorry. Um, or I guess that feeling of being an imposter. So now that I have like this calendar, it kind of makes me feel like, hey, I'm doing this. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's like something so small, but it's these little small things that I have that kind of create, you know, this kind of mentality that I'm
Yeah.
getting. And it really does help. And, when I say to my wife, I'm like, let me check my calendar or check my calendar,
She's
schedule it in
she's
or
like,
put it
check
in
your
my,
what?
it's just, yeah, cancel whatever because, right. But it's having that too, it's giving me that sense. And for me personally, that's been a benefit. And again, it just helps. It helps put everything in an
Yeah.
organizational format.
Yeah.
So,
I think, you talk about mental health. Man, I think I've used this term before with you guys. Like, this job can take your soul if you let it. And
mhm.
I had a I had a thing happen a couple of weeks ago where people probably know I'm an Apple whore. Okay, Apple phone, Apple my MacBook, iPad, pencil, watch, freaking AirPods. Even got Beats just in case I didn't cover off the whole damn product line. Okay, so but I had a thing last week, and I mean, everyone, I guess I'm about, mid 40s, kids are older, whatever, and I'm sitting at the table, and I swear to God, this goddamn watch will not stop vibrating. Like, for the people who used to have Blackberries, maybe used to have that Blackberry shadow thing
Mhm.
where it wasn't even on your hip, but your hip was vibrating. I had this, and I'm like, this is too much. I got the damn phone, I got the watch. I took the watch off, and I stopped wearing it for a few days. I sure as hell aren't using the health features, so that's all good. But
Mhm.
I just took it off, and I'm like, let me just see if I can do it without this. Like, seriously, the phone is enough right now, and I didn't notice I missed it. I didn't at all, and
Yeah.
I put it back on, and it was like it was trying to tell me something. Where I think in a minute the thing beeped, vibrated, or whatever 7 times on different notifications, and I'm like, get this thing off. So from the standpoint of mental health, yeah, you gotta be super
Mhm.
careful with this job in general because it'll just drive you, man. It's crazy. So yeah, that was my thing. I'm watchless, man. Sorry, Tim Apple. I'm out on the Apple Watch. I need a break. So um,
Yeah. And, I hope to get to that level one
you can
day
have my
and
watch if you want.
get, I will take it, Stephen. Thank you. Remember, it's on camera
Damn
or it's on a record. But yeah, it's ha- having again, it's a double-edged sword because it's great to have that business, right? And have those things and you're still relevant. But then the other end, it's like you just have to like sometimes it's just too much.
Yeah, and it
And
wasn't even business
I
coming in.
haven't
It was, it was admin stuff. And I think it was something from yourself, then an underwriter, then a this, then a this, then my kid texts me she needs something.
mm,
So it's just everything, man. It's like, and then
yeah.
you sit there and you're eating nice steak or whatever, and it's like,
Mm,
yeah, your heartbeat's over 120 for the last 10 minutes. I'm like, no shit, I'm eating a goddamn steak. Shut up.
yeah.
Pass me my beer. I'm sorry, I interrupted you,
Yeah.
John, but sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good because I lost my thought
Sorry,
actually.
man.
So it's good that
Podcast
you
host
came in
101
and
failure. I apologize.
no, that was my fault because while I was talking, I forgot what I was talking about. So then you came in and saved the day. But
Good.
I haven't I haven't been I haven't had people again. I'm not in that situation that you are right now because I'm just starting out. But it's I like to shut down. Like my biggest one right now is looking at my TikTok. Right, like I say like I don't care about the views. I don't care about this. And then 30 minutes later, I find myself instinctively going and looking at it. Right,
Yeah.
so I think that just taking a break and getting away from it all. I don't know if it's so much now if I have that ability to because I'm trying
Yeah.
to build something. And I also feel bad, right? I feel bad like if there's somebody that's stressed out at 8:30, like a client that's stressed out at 8:30 at night, if it takes a little phone call from me just to say, hey, calm down, we'll figure it out, just to
Yeah.
ease them, then to me that's worth it. But again, I'm not in that situation, and it's good to be able to recognize that and to take that
Yeah.
Apple Watch off. And I'm sorry that I was
No,
bothering you
not
so
at
much
all.
that you had
That's why I thought I'd throw that in there. I'm like, I don't want the guy to think it.
to.
But then, but then for
I
me
heard it.
too, it's I got to prioritize some of that, right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think there's a time and a place, and I think here's a good example. Clients will text you. You'll text me.
Mm.
My wife texts me. My daughter texts me. The expectation with a text message is an immediate response. How many times have you
Mm-hmm.
received a text message and you're legit busy? Whatever, it is what it is, right? You're having dinner, you're doing whatever, and then an hour later, hey, do you get my text message? Yeah, I got your text message. I'm busy, right? Like it's we've gotten to that point now, right? Where it's like a message, if it's not an email, a message demands an immediate response. No, it doesn't. It's the same as a damn email, as far as I'm concerned, right? Unless it's like, hey, SOS, shit's going down. Yeah, all right, you get my attention right away. But,
Mm.
or that should be a phone call anyway, really, right? Not a text
Mm.
message. So I think it really is balancing off what's important, what's not important. If I check to see the notification? Yeah, I do. Right. So, if I
Mm.
see you message me and say, hey man, I got a deal going sideways, I got to talk to you. Yeah, I'm going to drop what I'm doing and do it. Right. If I get a message
Mm.
from a client saying, hey, can I move my, or what's a good example? I don't know, anything, right? But it's just not important. Like it's not important right in that second. It can
Mm.
take an hour or two, then I can wait an hour or two. That's okay, right? It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's just figuring out your life, right? So
Yeah. I
so you
agree.
had some success lately. You were on some much
Mm.
larger scaled, not podcasts, but you were in the media and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit of tell everyone a little bit of what's happened lately.
Yeah. So I touched on it briefly before, but I do TikTok. I used to
Yeah.
sing. So before all this, wow, it must have
Right.
been 2007.
Yeah.
So what's that? 16 years ago. It's a long time. I was on Canadian Idol and I sang
Right.
for a long time. And then
Yeah.
my girlfriend at the time, who is my wife
Yeah.
now, we had a baby, and I got a quote unquote real job. And from there, I kind of never looked back. And I get with the mental health stuff. I about a year ago,
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling myself, and I wasn't feeling normal. Um, whatever I guess normal is, but I just
Yeah.
I was in a funk, and my wife noticed, and she convinced me to talk to somebody. And through the conversations I had through that therapist, it was incorporating more of my passions in my everyday life, and which is singing. And I have a full-time job, like I said, and I found a way to incorporate that there. And I posted them up with the approval of where I work. I posted them up on TikTok, and they got a lot of attention. And then I posted one
Yeah.
singing a Drake song, and somehow Drake saw it and he posted it on his social media. And from there, the news outlets and a lot of popular Instagram accounts picked up on it, and they wrote articles and stories. I was on CTV National News.
Yep.
I think her name was
Yeah.
Angie Seth, and that was a live interview. Yep. I was on Global with Karen Lieberman. I was on CBC. I was on Virgin
I
Radio on
saw
the
that. Yeah.
Sam and Dame show, which was that was a phenomenal experience. And written article in CP24, written article on
Yeah.
Global as well, CBC, and yeah, it was really cool to have that happen because like we're big fans obviously of Drake, but very it was a positively overwhelming getting all that attention as well. And then, friends, family who've supported me for years, my coworkers who have supported me for years as well too, just to see the excitement from them. And it was a fun couple. I think my 15 minutes is over now, but it was it kind of I say like it's so weird because I chased it
Yeah.
for so long, music and this and all this experience that I got. I chased it for so long and I was always right there and never quite got to it before I left. And then now
Yeah.
I'm doing it just to keep myself sane. And then all these things happen.
It,
So it's
it's like
just,
surreal.
it kind of shows like just kind
Yeah.
of sticking. Yeah. And it's just like sticking to, and sorry, Sean Desmond
Nice.
posted me as well too. So Sean Desmond, um, wants to meet up, he said. So,
That's
hopefully we'll do that
awesome.
soon enough. And, you know, just kind of, again, sticking to what it is, like
Yeah.
to the game plan, I guess, and following a passion. Everything just kind of falls into place. And it's really nice how it falls into place. And I'm confused as to why
Yeah.
it all has happened, but not to sound like um, you know, super profound or anything. I don't think I'm supposed to understand it. I think I'm just kind of supposed to accept it and just enjoy the experiences and enjoy the moments while they come. Um, because again, it just shows the power of social media, and it shows, just sticking to what you love and just doing it organically. And I think that transitions again back into what I'm doing now with the mortgages, and it shows the type of people
Yeah.
that just come out of the woodworks, right? Again, going back to the people that a month ago I had no clue, and now here we are, celebrating each other's
Yeah.
successes, and I haven't even met them in person, right? So it's phenomenal, the power of social media, and it's also recognizing
Hmm.
mental health. Like, I'm now a big advocate on mental health and figuring out ways to deal with it, because I wouldn't be able to do mortgages. I
Wow.
wouldn't have been able to do it a year ago. With the way that I was,
Yeah.
with all these things and what I was dealing with, I probably would have just, it would have been a bad situation. And being able to recognize and find ways to kind of cope and
Yeah.
manage everyday life, because it's everyday life. It's nothing, to me, it's nothing that's, everyone experiences it and everyone absorbs it and channels it differently. And for me, I needed to talk to somebody,
That's
and it kind of
awesome.
worked out. Got me, attention from the boy
And I
himself,
know you
and
struggled a little bit with obviously the two worlds were a little bit were separate for very important reasons, and I know you
yeah,
were struggling with you're doing your interviews and you couldn't say too much about at all what you were doing on the mortgage side, right? So I can just imagine, like, yeah, I do
yeah,
mortgages too, you can check me out, but you
uh,
were struggling with it, man,
I
I know.
wanted to so bad. Yeah, and it's just like one of those, like, okay, we're gonna give you this beautiful experience. We're also gonna, you know, we're gonna annoy you. This little annoying
That's
fact
right.
right here. We're gonna give you that because you can't have
Yeah.
everything. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And we tried to find ways to
Yeah.
be able to utilize that into getting, I guess, eyes on what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and have more conversations. But you know what? It
Yeah.
wasn't able to be
Absolutely.
to happen, and I still got to experience it. And again, I still have grown what I think is
Yeah.
grown pretty well in the last, what is it, three
Yeah, no,
months
it's
I've been doing this.
you
So
know a lot of stuff, man, people
yeah,
haven't
so
done in
it's
3 years. So yeah, no, totally. Absolutely.
hmm. That also helps, like being in that, like doing music, being up on stage. That's what helps with my
Yeah.
ability just to talk to people, right? Just to go, hey, find a way to connect, right? Like if I see somebody wearing a Blue Jay hat, right? If I see
Yeah,
somebody
well, they
wearing a
must be
Minnesota
cool, so you better
volleyball
talk
shirt,
to them because
yeah, yeah.
that's right.
He must have
Always
won prom king for sure. We're gonna go
that's
figure out
right.
figure out. But it's that
Yeah.
skill, like building up that skill set, has, I think, given me an advantage
Yeah.
in doing this as well too. And you know, messaging individuals, going and talking, and once I get my business cards, because I'm getting my,
Yeah, we
we
got
got
the
that
photo shoot,
scheduled
man. That's gonna
tomorrow.
go either
Going
horribly
to,
terrible or very, very well. We'll see.
yeah, but
That's
regardless of how it goes, we
right.
still get a free meal courtesy of
And of course, just to show
Stephen
your
Green after,
sense
which
of humor, you say, "Yeah, I love 5-star restaurants." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lone Star
I
got a
won't eat a
five
five
star
star.
review on Google some point."
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure.
they must
Yeah,
have a Michelin
absolutely. Yeah,
star
yeah. Always
somewhere.
ABC baby.
Yeah,
Always be closing. Love it. So
yeah. But again, like that'll give me the
yeah,
ability to go up and talk to people and not feel, because the other thing was, I can't remember who said it. It was on another podcast, and it was, if somebody told you
mm,
that you were had 20 no's, that you're gonna get 20 no's, and the 21st
yeah,
no, oh no, the 21st one was gonna be a yes, which was gonna make all your dreams come true. How
yes,
excited would you be to get
absolutely.
out of those first 20
Yeah,
no's? You'd be so excited. And it kind of, yeah,
yeah,
and it put a different perspective on, I guess, rejection. And you're not selling anything. You're saying, hey, do you have the situation? I
yeah,
could potentially help you get out of the situation, right? And obviously, it helps grow your business, but you're helping that client. And or if you go to an agent, you're saying, hey, how can we help each other? I'm not just coming to you, give me your business. No, no, no. Like, let's
That is a
find a way
lost
where we're
art.
beneficial to each
Okay,
other,
what you just said is a
right?
lost art. How can we
Mm-hmm.
grow our business together? Like, what can I help you with here, man? Right? And listen, doing a good job on social media. Can we share some
Mm-hmm.
stuff? Whatever. Yeah, I'm with you. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, man. That 20 and 21 analogy, I love it. Love it because it's absolutely friggin' true.
Yep.
And you gotta get going with it. You gotta hustle and you gotta make the calls and whatever you gotta do, right? It's a numbers game, and you get 50 no's. Hey, it is what it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
Move on, keep going. It is what it is. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's not a product that you're not. It's not like, hey, do you want to buy this broom? I'm not picking on brooms for. I don't want to get sued if this is
yeah,
gets out. Oh, talking about benefits, like, no, I don't need a broom. I don't need a broom. It's not
yes.
like
Don't worry about it. Keep
all
going.
of our
All
brooms are
good.
very effective and they're very helpful, but yeah, like you said, it's just then it's like, okay, well, I'm offering something as well. I'm
Yep.
not just giving you this broom and then that's it forever. It's like we're creating a relationship now, and it's something where if you want to call me here, you can call me here. Again, if you want to, have this conversation, we can. And you know, being able to make those connections is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. No.
And
No. No. The end. Period.
yeah,
Yeah. You're
I lost
absolutely
that thought
correct.
again.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. Totally. So, Jonathan, it
Yeah,
has been awesome having you on. I think, like I said, I think you are, the stuff you're doing, I think you're going to do exceptionally well in the role. It's going to take some time, like any brand new, spanking brand new business. You got to figure out how to use your damn calendar. So it's going to take a little bit of time. It's all good. But having said that, listen, shameless plug. How can people find you if they want to reach out, get some advice on mortgages, stuff like that? We're on the same team. So listen, if you to all the people who are listening or watching, listen, if you connect with
Mhm.
Jonathan, love it. It's all good. We're on the same team that way. So, Jonathan, if someone wants to get a hold of you and talk shop, talk mortgages, how do they get a hold of you, bud?
Yeah, so on Instagram it's Pooley, Pooley .mortgages, and email Jonathan, Jonathan, at
What's your phone number? Give that
thefinancialcollective.ca.
out, man.
And my phone. Give it out, six four
And you take
seven
text
three
messages at
two
any
eight
time of the night,
one four
midnight,
seven
1
seven.
a.m. It's all
I'm
good,
located.
right? You're starting out. Oh, you do. That's right.
I
That's right. So
I get
actually,
up
yeah,
at
he
two
might
thirty in the morning to go
respond.
to work. So yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So again, and like I said, it's if it's me
Yeah.
sacrificing a bit of sleep so that other people can get some sleep, I'm
Yeah.
okay with that because again, I've been on that side of it, and I know that feeling, and I know what I would the small amount of time or just the
Yeah.
one sentence I would have needed just to make me feel okay. Right. And most of those situations I got it, and a couple of them I didn't, but the times that I didn't made
Mm-hmm.
such an impact that being in that role now, I would sacrifice sleep. I'll sacrifice watching
Careful, careful, careful.
football on Sundays if I have to,
Oh, Leafs are okay. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
or the Leafs.
You
Yeah.
don't worry about it until
Those,
like March, April, whenever the playoffs are on.
oh,
Because after than that, it's like whatever. Just anyway. Okay, I've just pissed off a whole bunch of people there. All right, let's stop it there. Jonathan, thank
yeah.
you so much, man. Been awesome having you
Yeah.
on. And as we finish every episode, I don't know why we say it this way, but make sure you love us, like us, follow us, desire us, 5 stars, whatever. And I don't know, yeah, I don't know how we ended with this all the time, but keep fit and have
Share.
fun. I don't know, that's all we got. All right, see you later, everybody.
Bye bye.